Hello, true duelists. YGO Strats coming at you with a Wednesday video. Once upon a time, and by once upon a time I mean on exactly the first Wednesday of this month, I realized that I'd coincidentally scheduled the Ghost Trick video to be the first video of October on the Wednesday slot. And that got me to thinking, wow, what if I do like all the spooky decks for October? That'd be pretty on theme. That'd be pretty branded. Get it? That's an allusion to another deck. Will I cover that one day? Fucking probably. I need ideas. But still, what if I do all the cool undead decks for October and it's spooky month? And then I realized I'd already done Shaddoll and Vendread and Zombie, which are like the three good decks to also do alongside Ghost Trick, which would be the four decks that I've really truly played that fit the theme of October. And so I was like, well, fuck that idea. And then I made a discussion about Anti-Spell Fragrance and a Crystal Beast video instead. So that's where that went. But then it hit me. There is one other deck I've got a smidge of experience with that's pretty damn spooky, scary skeletons. Get it? The meme that gets beat to death on the 1st of every October and then quickly dies into irrelevancy again year after year after year. An undead zombie of a meme into and of itself. Yeah, that's right, it's Skull Servants. Bet you guessed that from the fucking thumbnail and title. But yeah, it's Skull Servants. This is a goofy ass deck that Yu-Gi-Oh! And Konami have decided to commit effort and continued support to over the course of like 20 years for no reason, and with no real consistency either. This deck is all about Skull Servant, a level 1 vanilla with 300 attack, 200 defense, and some dope-ass purple robes. And that's the foundation of it. That's the whole core, is just that guy, and put him in the graveyard where he fucking belongs, because it's a skeleton, and it shouldn't have that shit out in public, man. No disrespect to fans of the deck. I have fun playing this too, but you don't walk around with your skeletons just hanging out there. You don't greet people into your home and be like, check out this fucking corpse. The fuck was that? What is that game plan, Mr. Dahmer? Chill the fuck out. How about you don't be a fucking weirdo? Better yet, how about you don't be a serial killer, Mr. Dahmer? Anyway, Skull Servants. It's very simple. It's very fun. Let's get to it. The entire core of the deck, as I've said, is about Skull Servant, but really it is about the king of the Skull Servants. That's right, this guy right here. This guy gains 1,000 attack for every monster named Skull Servant in your graveyard. And if it is destroyed by battle, it can banish a Skull Servant to summon itself back from the grave. So it's just never-ending recycling and slightly weaker, but never-ending King of the Skull Servant as a beatdown. That's the core of the deck. You want to get as many Skull Servants into the grave and then just beat down the opponent with reckless abandon. And you might be saying, well, that's what, a 3k beater then, Skull Servant? There's 3 copies of a level 1 vanilla. That's a horrible garnet. And then just, that's it for a 3k beater with diminishing returns? No. You see, Konami has seen fit to give this archetype 5 monsters over the course of 20 years. That's right, you're looking at a series of cards supported by, I guess, 6 when you include King, but 5 other monsters to make this playable in any capacity. And let me tell you, it is playable in a very fun capacity. The first one we got was, I believe, White Mare and the Lady in White. Now, I do, of course, mean white. No. I'm kidding. It's not white like the paleness of my skin that blinds civilians every time I do something like this. Apologies for the visual impairment I may have just given you having done that. You chose to watch a video of a man of this complexion. That falls on you, I'm afraid. I'm very sorry. Legally, I am in the right here because... Moving on. No, this is white. Like whites. Like Game of Thrones, if you ever saw that. Yeah, I remember that dog shit ending to a show. My God. It's crazy how much of a powerhouse that show was and just how good it was. Like, the first thing I ever saw from Game of Thrones was Tyrion's trial at like an ex's place, and I was like, damn, that's some good ass acting. Maybe I'll check this show out. And then I binged the first 4 seasons and was like, holy shit, this is great. And then the next 4 seasons aired and it was just a A gradual realization of, oh no, they're ruining it. And then in season 8, they took a giant steaming shit all over our chests and said, worship it like a god. And I guess it was okay because they put 5 layers of sunglasses on, as the joke goes, before making you watch the Battle of the Night's King. And like, oh, I could go for hours about how fucking horrible the last season of that show was. But this is a video about Skull Servants. Let's get on to it. No, the whites here, the Joseph Rothschild enthusiasts here, are both Skull Servant in the grave, as is important, but they have 2 effects that are simple but effective. The Lady in White makes it so that while it's face up on the field, your level 3 and lower face up zombies cannot be targeted by spell and trap cards and are unable to be destroyed by battle, which is pretty solid. And then White Mare here, which is any dream featuring myself or Joseph Rothschild probably. You know what? Play the clip.
Warning! Warning! If you are a child, you are not safe around me!
Now that is a White Mare. No, this card can be discarded to activate one of 2 effects. It'll either target a banished White Mare or Skull Servant and return it to the graveyard to keep your king strong and alive, or special summon a King of the Skull Servants or a Lady in White to either get your beater or protect your beater. And they're pretty solid, and they made for a cute little strategy that needed some more work, let's be real. But it's okay because Konami saw fit to give it some more work. The next 2 were the White Prince and the White Princess, which are pretty goofy looking cards, and they're actually pretty phenomenal. White Princess on normal summon can just Foolish White Prince, which is phenomenal, that we'll get to for a reason. And it can also discard itself to be like a battle trap, I think, by making all monsters on the field lose attack and defense equal to their level or rank times 300. So, not really all that important. That's more, you know, fuck it, I'm buffing the king and I'm throwing the princess into the graveyard. Figure out that sentence and tell me if that needs to be reworked. I don't know. No, moving on, it's White Prince, who is fittingly enough a suitable successor to the king in terms of support, because this is kinda cracked. White Prince here, if it is sent to the graveyard, can send 1 Skull Servant and 1 Lady in White from your hand or deck to the grave. And it can banish 2 Skull Servants and itself from the grave to summon a king from the deck. So by itself, when it goes to the graveyard, it sends a Skull Servant and a Lady in White, meaning when it hits the graveyard, your king immediately becomes 3,000 attack from 1 Foolish Burial target. That's pretty effing good. Yeah, it is. It can also banish all 3 of them to get the king out immediately, which is also solid. So it's just access to the king and strength to the king, or both. And it is a phenomenal piece of support that I did not think could be topped. And that was until Konami reminded me of American barbecues. Because white baking, also known as me when marijuana gets involved, is a new piece of support from Blazing Vortex or something of that effect, which just, again, is a phenomenal piece of support for the deck. White baking makes it so if one of your level 3 or lower zombies would be destroyed, you can discard this card from your hand to the graveyard instead. And if it's sent from the graveyard, you can add 2 copies of cards that either are Skull Servant or mention Skull Servant in their text from your deck to your hand, and then discard a card. Meaning that you can set any of these monsters, and then if they're attacked, discard White Baking, search out King of the Skull Servant and White Prince, then discard the White Prince and Foolish another 2 monsters. Meaning that this can start the train by itself to get you a 4K attack Skull Servant with that Skull Servant in your hand ready to go. And by Skull Servant, I of course mean the king. Now, that is it. That's the entirety of the support Konami's given them. They're just boosted by the fact that they're zombies, meaning all the cool generic zombie toys are yours to play with as you see fit. You can throw in your Mizukis, your Gozukis, your Badabukis, your Unizombies, your Shiranui Solitaires, your Baylor Drock, still can't say that card's name, Necro Shaman Laman Daman, I can't remember the name of the card that gets you Zombie World from the deck. The point is, you can just play generic zombie tools as your backup to help out your king beatdown. It's also got nice little synergies like being level 1, meaning 1 for 1 is a cool way to discard a White Prince in the opening hand and get you out the King of the Skull Servant without having to banish the cards that White Prince sends to the graveyard. Neat little synergies like that. This deck is pretty awesome. I'm actually thinking of building it. Funnily enough, these are just loose cards that I had in my collection, in my bulk, that I was like, wow, I have a good number of these things to make the deck already, maybe I will, because I've had my ass handed to me by this deck on 2 separate occasions. Once was in 2014 or so. I was playing Shadal, and I got absolutely curb stomped unexpectedly at a locals by that deck, and that was its introduction to me, and I'll never forget it. Kudos to you, Josh. You fucking rolled me that night. And the second time was a little more recently, wherein my friend played it against my Goki deck, and his backup plan was fuck it, Verte into Dragoon. So I either got beat the fuck down by the king or beat the fuck down by Dragoon, which was a hell of an experience. One of them I enjoyed, the other one it was just like, yeah, they printed Dragoon, all right, okay, why not, fuck it. And that's the bread and butter of the deck. It's really not all that much to sell you on if I'm going to be telling you should play it. Do you want to summon a 10,000 attack King of the Skull Servants and have that stupid purple cloaked motherfucker be the thing that ruins people's day for the opponent? Then you're gonna love this deck. Do you get bored doing the same thing over and over, turn after turn with one big punch, and it's just something you're not that all invested in? You want a little bit more variety and toolboxing? Probably not the deck for you. We've got one goal and we're doing it until we die, and you'll die with us. That's King of the Skull Servants, baby. You're not wrong for having one opinion or the other, but I can tell you, you're missing out if you do not give it a shot. This deck is a blast, it's goofy as shit, and I happen to love it. And I'm probably going to actually build it. This will not be the replacement to Paleo Frog my heart yearns for, but it will be the replacement to my Shadal deck that got curb stomped in 2014. Josh, I'm stealing your cards. I literally don't need to, and I'm doing it anyways. So that's where I'm gonna wrap up this video, because I don't have a whole lot else to say before I get rambling onto like fucking Game of Thrones again, or whatever the hell it is I do in these tangent-ass videos these days. Thank you so much for watching. Hit a like, hit a you son of a bitch. I've been exposed. Yeah, you know what? The video's done. Like, comment, subscribe. That's it. What is this blue-ass wall-looking piece of shit? Fuck you, camera. Fuck you, green screen. Fuck you, recording device. And you're cool. You can stay. Please subscribe.